Andrietta, Reece Andrietta, Jaden Davis, and the full forward line of Tim Bodell. Jaden Parsons, who comes off a 10-goal heist last week, Glenn, and Arthur Garlett. And the interchange players comprise of Leon Jones Jr. Haven't seen him play this year, Glenn, so we're looking very excited to see that. Tyler Corlett, Josh Clune, and also Cohen Mason.
Okay, so Towns have come up with a very good lineup, as have the Brigade side, as we see the umpires coming out for this afternoon's game. Plenty of experience there, and a couple of the up-and-comers as well. Robert Bennett leading the way as the senior umpire, of course, his son Theo Bennett and Randall Starling. So good to see three umpires in control for the GNFL this afternoon for the big one. Brigade side from the full-back line, we've got Clay Sipler, Joel Patrick and Lucas Ronan. Halfbacks, Henry Perham, Isaac Ronan and Sam Jeevers. Then we have a centre line of Riaz Mohammed, Sam Millett and Jared White. Full forward line of Jordan O'Brien, Hassan Ahmat Watkins and Jamie Ryder. Full forward line of Mick Quick, Fletcher Clastorni and Christopher Ryder. First ruck, Hayden Johnson, Rama Evans and Jack Deschamps. Interchange players will come from Caden Dan, Austin Breen, Jackson Luff and Jesse Castleton. So both sides have come up for a very good side. We know, of course, Towns coming off that massive 174-point win that they had last weekend against Mullawa, so they're full of confidence, and Brigade's all freshened up. They had the bye last weekend and they're looking forward to the opportunities today. So a really big contest. The breeze still blowing and probably still worth 2 or 3 goals favouring the golf club end, but it is more straight up and down the ground than it was earlier today. But a really good contest, and as you say, Peter, it's great to see a big crowd here. I got here around lunchtime today, around 12 o'clock, and there's cars right around the ground. There's lots of cars in the car park. Of course, lots of people are sitting in their cars because of the weather. It's a little bit warmer in the cars, but good to see a good crowd here and some of the old Town faithful out and about, sitting second on the premiership table, and it's good to see Towns putting pressure on those above them.
Yes, absolutely. Towns have been very good this year. I've seen them 3 times, and this will be the 4th time, I think. And sorry, just adjusting my headset here. Thanks, Peter. There's their homegrown talent. They haven't added a lot of people from outside. You know, Chapman Valley and East. There's been some changes out there, of course, but the Towns, to their credit, the last 12 months, I think have worked really hard. Perhaps today, just a little bit quick, I think, Brigades. It'll be interesting to see what develops. They're very defensive Towns, but last week had a big win, so maybe it's all clicking together for them.
Well, the structure is the interesting one, because talking to people today on Footy Forum and all talking high regards to the way the structure that Towns play. It doesn't always look pretty, but it is effective. And, of course, they're playing on this big ground, the ground that they know a fair bit about. And we know the Brigades, they've turned over a few players from last year's side as well, who finished as minor premiers but didn't make the grand final. But they're about 6 or 7 players out, so they brought a lot of good young kids in, and it's going to take a little while for those young kids to be at their best. Although they are exceptionally good young players, you don't generally play your best footy in your first 10 games, do you?
No, well, watching some games this year, Glenn and Peter, that they have been quite congested at times. So everyone seems to be doing a similar thing where they're playing that zone defence. And I'd like to see an open game, quick game, and I think that's what we're going to get from Brigades. But it's going to be a very tough defensive battle from Towns to win, I think.
Towns have won the toss, which is a pretty handy toss to win on a day like today. So Drew Forrest, I take it he won the toss because he went with the breeze. You wouldn't have imagined you'd go against it. So Drew Forrester won the toss and took that. And, of course, we have the Brigade side. They're at the northern end, the Wanthella end in a huddle. Towns are at the golf club end at a huddle. And as we mentioned in other games today, we see Rovers up against Northampton. Northampton, although they have many players missing today, you would still imagine they would be too good for Rovers, who have been really disappointing. I thought Rovers last week, Peter, they had a real opportunity because Railways were well down on numbers, and they still went down by 40 points at home, so that was disappointing for Rovers.
Yeah, they're just a bit short, aren't they, in the cattle department, and I'm not quite sure what's going on at Rovers. But Railways, they got beaten by Towns. Probably Johnny wouldn't have been all that happy about that, so they've probably made them work hard. They've got a bit of work to do, Railways.
The other game is Railways up against Mullawa, and Mullawa well and truly outgunned and outclassed last week, and an opportunity there for Railways to get some premiership points, of course, the valuable 4 premiership points, but also get some percentage. Towns, by their massive win last weekend, of that massive 174-point win, the percentage they got was almost equivalent of getting a game.
Yeah.
You know, massive. And I guess every club that plays Mullor has sort of got to try and get that percentage now, because we could have, still got 5 clubs trying to fit into 3 spots. Yeah,
absolutely. I think that just quickly before Pete adds to what we're saying is that Lockie Morphew will have a bit of a say around the centre today. Very good left-handed ruckman. I think him and Spud will have a good contest today.
As we mentioned, the umpires this afternoon, GNFL umpires Robert Bennett, Theo Bennett and Randall Starling. We're about to get this first term underway with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton on Radio Mama, the home of GNFL footy. And umpire Theo Bennett will get the game underway. He puts the ball in the air, and we're underway in the first one in just a moment. And of course, we're coming from WA Country Builders Stadium. Beautiful conditions for footy. And if you're looking for some good footy, come on down to Wanthella. Lachlan Morphew wins the ruck, but in goes Hayden Johnson, roves it well, gets it out to a teammate. That teammate is Sam Millett, starting in the middle, so they're using Millett's pressure in the midfield. Whistle on play, free kick's been picked out. Goes the way of Henry Perham. Henry Perham comes out towards the clubroom side, where he finds a player there in Clay Sippler. Clay Sippler gets it up the ground to centre wing, looking up there for a teammate. LaRosa's there for Towns, couldn't mark the ball, but a good pick up there from the player there in Brigades, player in Deschamps. Deschamps gets in the way of the player there in Ryder. Ryder goes back to his brother and Jamie Ryder, and the ball goes upfield, and a good mark taken by the Towns player there. Good strong mark taken there by Rowan Farris.
Rowan Farris wearing the hoop socks up, as you know he does. Stresses great attire for football and plays a good game as well as he kicks to the outer side, the Floors Road side of the ground now. They have it through Forrester. Forrester down that wing. Doesn't meet the intended target. He's looking for Lockie Morphew. The ball spills free. Bit of a pack develops. Ball comes out now. Towns still have it in their possession. And it looks like it is Faithful who has the ball. Faithful sends it into the middle of the ground and Towns are away. Towns are away through Bodell. Is the kick big enough? Into the half-forward area it goes. And up goes the big defender for Brigades, and that's Joel Patrick, and takes a timely mark.
Patrick lets the pressure off, comes across the ground, gives it to a teammate. Brigades have an opportunity now. They have the ball on half-back. Brigades player goes back inboard, gets it across the ground as Jared White, new player in the club this year. White goes the way of Patrick again. So Brigades have had to go back to go forward, and Patrick comes up along the ground. A very tough kick, almost a good mark there to a Towns player. Ball comes out, goes the way of Brigades. Brigades get to the field of the player there in Millett. Millett goes by hand, gets it to the hard-running player there, doing well in Rama Evans, gets it in towards the centre of the ground, and Fletcher Clastorni takes the mark. Clastorni puts it on his left boot, kicks it towards half-forward, ball running free. In goes the Towns player there and Jake Chapman. He goes in, retrieves the ball. The two Ryder boys are there, and in comes umpire Randall Starling. And umpire Starling will put the ball into the air about 35 metres away from the danger zone. And of course, we know Towns are kicking with the breeze, but Brigades have it at their end.
2.5 minutes gone in this, the first term, thanks to Community Bank Geraldton. The ball is held by the Brigades player. He's caught in possession. No, caught a little bit high. The umpire adjudicated, and that is Jordan O'Brien, the captain. So Jordan O'Brien will have a shot on goal. He'll kick from just inside the forward 50 toward the Wanthella end. So into the breeze. Breeze going slightly across the ground from a north-westerly direction, bringing some weather we suspect this evening. So Jordan O'Brien. He's a pretty good goal sneak. Does the Josh Kennedy skip? In he comes now. Will it look pretty good off the boot? Yes, it does. It's straight through the middle. No, it doesn't. It dropped short. Gee, it was held up into the breeze. Knocked forward by LaRosa now. Out of defence they come, going the way of Faithful. He's looking good this afternoon, racking up possessions early, but straight down the throat of that player in Ronan. Ronan, just like Nadal, hitting to Federer, puts it back over the net, and the ball is picked up by the defender for Towns. The ball on the halfback or nearly fullback line for Towns now. Player coming inboard. He's a player open to the task. That player there is Payton Mason. Mason goes laterally now on the far side. The ball is with Towns, who kick it toward the Floors Road side. Into the pockets they go, almost at centre wing. Comes off hands, goes toward the boundary, but stays in. Brigades player does well to bring it in. Goes away now of Millett. Millett for the Hawks. Gets it over to Dan. Good to see him back in the lineup. Dan sets sail for home. Puts it into the half-forward area. But coming out to take a timely mark is Hoffhammer.
Hoffhammer gets it up the ground, finds a teammate, and Towns can go forward now through Drew McGregor against his old club. Gets it up towards the player there in Forrester. Back to McGregor. Towns have an opportunity now. Goes the way of Jordan Davis. Davis gets it up the field. He soccers the ball in towards the forward pocket. Brigades come out in numbers. Brigades player goes in well in Lucas Ronan. Brings it out, gets it away to Henry Perham. And once again, Brigades are out of trouble briefly, but the ball's cut off by Towns. And Towns' Bo Walker, the coach, centres the ball, finds a teammate in Faithful. Faithful kicks towards full forward, pack into the air. And an opportunity now from Towns. And the Towns player grabs the ball. Arthur Garlett.
I wonder who.
And Arthur Garlett gets the first score of the afternoon. 5 minutes gone in this first term with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton. And on the scoreboard for Total Workwear, it is Towns 1 goal straight. And they lead Brigades yet to open their account.
As you'd hoped, it is a pretty open game. Let's hope it stays that way.
It is. It started well. It's open and there's a lot of good football at this stage. I like Lucas Ronan's start. He started really well. Pete, one interesting thing is we watched that goal into the wind with Jordan O'Brien. Now that ball dropped dramatically, didn't it?
It did. It certainly did.
Kicking into the wind is going to be an issue.
It certainly is. Ball back in the middle now. First blood going to Towns here at WA Country Builders Stadium. 1 goal straight 6. They lead Brigades yet to open their account. This quarter brought to you by Community Bank Geraldton. Thank you for your support of local footy in season 2024. Ball back with umpire Randall Starling now. He's umpired a bit of league football this year. The ball coming out of the pack goes away Brigades, but they can't get through the traffic. Towns do well. La Rosa on the far side. Gets it to a teammate. He puts it into the full forward area. 2 players go up. Garlett was one of those. The taller player from Brigades in Patrick did the better. He gets the ball out of danger, or does he? There's Rama Evans, a player obviously on loan from the PSA competition. I think he does a bit with East Fremantle too.
I think he's going to Country Week too for Great Northern.
That's good to hear. The ball coming inboard now. Going the way of Towns. Can they set something up? Tyler Coolette dropped what he should have taken. The ball goes to ground. Kick going the way now. Well, that player in Evans again. He kicks to the outer side for Brigades. Ball going toward the boundary. Does it find the sanctuary of the white line? It does. Just in front of the scoreboard, which reads Towns 1 straight goal to Brigades. No score yet.
And the beautiful electronic scoreboard with thanks to Total Workwear. Ball to be thrown back into play from the boundary umpire. So 7 minutes gone in this first term. So if Brigades can keep Towns at bay, but Towns need to get some pressure on. The goal, the score is worth, the breeze is worth 2 or 3 goals, I'd say. So they want to get a couple more to catch up with the parity of the breeze. Free kick goes the way of Towns. Towns player with the ball is Drew Forrester. Played in the midfield a bit last weekend, but might have to spend a little bit more time in defence today. Gets it up forward, looking up there for Garland again. But Brigades have the big fellas there. The ball comes out. Towns slap the ball forward, goes the way of Ronan. He puts the ball down, goes back to his brother in Isaac, gives it to Lucas, and eventually comes the way of the player there in Clay Sipler. Clay Sipler kicks it up towards centre wing, but it's picked up by the Towns hard-running player there in Joshua DeLacy. He gets it up the ground, but Brigades are there again through Sipler to Johnson. Johnson gets it to a teammate in Lucas Ronan, and Ronan gets it up the ground and goes the way of the player there in Ryder, but Ryder's given away a free kick. It goes the way of Josh DeLacy.
DeLacy, just in front of our broadcast position. He sets it inboard now, but I've got a couple of players. Brigades were the best of it, or getting the best of it, trying to come out of the pack. But in they go again, and one of those players is Garlett. He goes inboard, the ball's bottled up, and there'll be a ball up just inside the forward 50 for Towns. Towns attacking well early. Up they go, Ruckman at it, but the better of them was Johnson on this occasion over Morphew. Ball going further forward for Towns though. Brigades under siege at the moment as they come out to the wing area, and the mark is taken there by Caden Dan. Caden Dan now will kick it down the wing just in front of our broadcast position, in front of the Podge Jackson grandstand. Up they go, fisted away by O'Brien goes to ground. There's Evans. He's built this fella. Goes straight through the pack. He gets it out to a teammate who just wasn't ready for it on that occasion. We're talking about Jack Deschamps. Deschamps goes back in to have another bite of the cherry. The ball spills free. Deschamps nearly again gets the ball, but it goes away now of Rosa. Rosa for Towns. The player is dealt with behind play. I think the ball will come back. Deschamps was that player. And our free kick is going the way of the Towns player who caught him in possession. And that's Hoffhammer who's getting a bit of the ball early.
So Cam Hoffhammer in the centre of the ground. Big kick with the breeze behind him. Kicks it up towards half forward. Towns players there. Brigades defender does well in Sipler. Slaps the ball forward and a whistle on play. And a free kick will go the way of the Brigades defender. So Sipler with the free kick, been very prominent early. Looking for some movement up the ground. Brigades going against the breeze. He kicks it up towards centre wing, looking for Hayden Johnson. But once again, Hoffhammer does well. Slaps the ball to ground. Goes back, does Johnson. Gets a handball away. Comes back the way of the player there in Caden Dan. Good to see him back from injury. Gets it up towards Sam Millett. Sam Millett fighting hard for the ball. And the Towns player going in hard there is Lachlan Morphew. And the umpire, Randall Starling, will come in and throw the ball up on the boundary line, about 15 metres away from the boundary line, just in front of the Towns coach's box. Towns will be happy with their endeavour, but they're not getting the score on the board. 10 minutes gone in this first term, with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton, as we see the player there in Perham. Henry Perham gets it forward, and in goes the player. It was a very hard tackle on that player, and a good bit of play there. And the Towns players eventually got up after the Clastorni ran into him. Ball comes the way now of the player. There is Faithful, but a beautiful bit of a smother there from Sam Millett right in front of our Radio Mama broadcast box here at WA Country Builders Stadium.
Glenn and Pete, it is an open game, and it's good to see this year. We've seen a lot of tight tussles and zones, and today it's open football. It's good to see.
Good to see Josh cleaning it up from that collision. There was nothing in it, Glenn. He was stepping back into the ball most dangerously, and over the back came the big basketballer. The ball down the wing now, going the way of La Rosa. La Rosa tries to get it to a player. It comes off hands and spills over the boundary. The ball out of sight just slightly now as the umpire brings it in now, the boundary umpire. The breeze, I think, is a lot stronger out on the ground than it looks from here, favouring the golf course end. The ball coming out of the pack goes away of that player there in Mason. Mason into the half-forward area, off hands again, and back over the boundary. That player there in Cohen Mason. The two Mason brothers getting into the action. So the ball about to be thrown in now in the half-forward area once again for Towns. So Towns getting a lot of the play early in their forward 50. As I said, I think the breeze might have a little to do with that, but the second term will let me know if that's true or not. The ball from Johnson. Foot comes out of the pack. Socket out. Goes away with a teammate that's quickly bottled up, but advantage is paid as Mason gets it for Towns. Into the half-forward area it goes, fisted away by the defender for Brigades. And there is again the youngster. The player there is Rama Evans. He sends it back to whence it came. Up goes Johnson, puts up his hands, it comes off his mitts, goes to ground. Player diving on top of it, not letting it out of his keeping is Hoffhammer. He's getting a lot of the ball, Hoffhammer. He's playing like a man possessed this afternoon. The ball thrown up just in front of the dugout for Towns. Pushed away was Morphew by his opposite number. The umpire said nothing in that. The ball going to ground. Brigades trying everything as the player is tackled late, and that player is
Mick Quick,
and the ball will come back to Mick Quick. So the ball coming back, he was dealt with late. The crowd asking what it's for, but it was pretty obvious that he was tackled just a little bit late. And this player in Mick Quick, I think he's working for Ladbrokes at the moment now. Have you seen that Ladbrokes ad?
No.
Two boys trying to buy the horse. Looks exactly like one of them. He's a dead ringer. The ball back in the middle now, going the way of Cohen Mason, onto his boot into the half-forward area. Over the back comes that player there to try and take the mark, and that player is Leon Jones Jr. He's unable to do so, comes off hands and spills over the boundary.
Yes, so time ticking by. 12 and a half minutes gone in this first term, with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton. Ball to be brought back into play, deep in the forward pocket at the golf club end, the end of which we expect to see most of the scoring today. The Towns will probably use their defensive play when the second quarter is around, because Brigades will be kicking with the breeze in that quarter. But at the moment, Brigades are going well against the breeze. Brigades has the ball, player spills the whale, comes back, and in goes the Towns player there, and Clune slaps it forward to the teammate and eventually comes to McGregor. Picked up again by the player there in Lachlan Morphew. Kicks it forward, but only as far as Breen. Breen gets it to Mick Quick. Quick kicks it across the ground. There's 2 Brigades players and 2 Towns players. In goes Tyler Corlett, but the ball spills. Goes the way of Rama Evans. He gets it up towards centre wing. Ball running free. And the Brigades player fighting hard. The Towns player doing well. The Towns player was held while not in possession. So the free kick goes the way of Towns. So Towns bring the ball inboard. And Towns can go forward now. A big kick from the centre of the ground from the Towns player. Gets it up towards half forward. But unfortunately for Towns, they couldn't carry on with it. And Brigades have an opportunity now. Brigades have it through the player there in white. Jared White, new player in the club this year, goes back, then it comes forward again, and Austin Breen's there, gets it forward, and Brigades can do something, and Fletcher Clestorni grabs the ball, but a good tackle put on him by Bo Walker. The umpire says play on, comes back towards the player there in Ryder. Ryder says no, the ball spills, goes the way of the player in Peyton Mason, but the ball's cut off by Breen in defence for Brigades.
Breen coming laterally now, he finds Ronan. Lucas Ronan, been playing a bit for East Fremantle Colts.
Good footballer, this kid.
He certainly is. Into the half back area it comes now, almost at centre wing. Comes off hands and spills over the boundary eventually. A bit of a push and shove from players trying to get into it. Costoni and Hoffhammer getting to know each other.
Pete, it's good to see the future. We've got hello, Tim Bodell. Glenn's man's into it down there.
The umpire's watching him though.
Wade Breen and Lucas Ronan and these kids, they're the future of Brigades. It's good to see them playing well.
That's right, that's Wade's young bloke, and he certainly is.
He's got about 5.
Yeah, the ball coming down the line now, going the way of the player in Dan, coming down in front of our broadcast position. Johnson tries to take the mark, isn't able to finish off the task. The ball is pushed forward. Players are pushed forward onto that custodian, and the ball will be thrown in now.
Tim Bardell is a beauty, isn't he?
A bit of a push and shove in the background. Ball thrown in now in front of our broadcast position. Players setting themselves. Morphew wins on this occasion. Knocks it to ground. Player going to ground also. Diving on top of it. And that player won't give up. He never does.
Glenn's man's heavily involved.
And the player I'm talking about there.
He's always good like that.
Clay Supler won't give up. Back into the action now. Clestoni knocks it down. Picked up now by Ryder. Ryder inside he goes. Picked up now by O'Brien. O'Brien is cut off on that occasion by Farris. Farris gets it to Forrester. Forrester's away into the half-forward area. It's good work by Forrester. Covered a bit of distance, but there's Ronan again. Bit of a wisp on the far side of the wide expanses of WA Country Builders Stadium. He sends it in front of the scoreboard, but the mark is taken now there by Collette. Collette sends it inboard now, but going from one team to the other as it comes through the middle again, and the whistle has sounded, and it's 50 metres going the advantage of Brigades.
Yes, Brigades will be very happy with the way they have used their ball in this game. Towns have got the breeze, and we've played 17 minutes in this quarter. They've scored 1 goal. The breeze is worth 2 to 3 goals, so Brigades' defence has done very well. Towns' forward lines hasn't. Ball goes forward, goes the way of Hassam Ahmad Watkins. The player, we believe, is playing with a broken finger today. Plays the ball.
Oh, nice mark.
Goes the way of Ryder. So here's an opportunity. It'll be tough to kick it from there. Jamie Ryder has the ball. He's 25 metres out, deep in the right forward pocket.
He'll be kicking straight into the breeze from there.
Yeah, very, very tough. But we know how clever a player Jamie is. So Jamie Ryder shooting on goal. Very important kick. Scores to be level. Yeah, very tough conditions for football with the breeze blowing directly up the ground. It was a little bit across the ground earlier today, but here comes Ryder. Can he get Brigades back on a level pegging? There goes the kick. Looks pretty good.
He's got it.
Wait on the
no, it's a
1 point only. And on the total workwear scoreboard, Towns are 1 goal and Brigades are 1 behind.
You're listening to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football, getting to quarter time. The first break here in Adrenaline O'Malley game day. As we see interchange happening quite fluently here on the boundary. Players going on and off as
nice kick.
Farris sends a beautiful kick down the middle of the ground. Up they go. It's picked up now by the Brigades custodian. He puts it into space. They just look at each other. Rama Evans eventually gets it. Gets it away to a teammate who's caught in possession. Didn't get held long enough. Evans has it now at centre wing. He looks at his options. He kicks it almost straight up into the air. But there's Clestoni taking a mark. And Clestoni's starting to get this game sorted.
He is.
As he makes his way into the lineup for Brigades, starting the season from a basketball career. better known for that, but he's making his name in football in the GNFL. O'Brien has it now, goes one way then the other, looking for Johnson. Johnson wasn't ready for it. Coming through though into the full 40 area. The ball goes the way of that player that you spoke about, and that was Harmat Watkins. He gets a lovely goal, but good work further down the field came from Jack Deschamps that saw the opportunity and saw Ahmet Watson's all on his lonesome.
Yes, 19 minutes gone in this first term, heading towards time on, and on the total workwear scoreboard, Towns are 1 goal straight. Brigades are in front, amazingly, against the breeze, 1-1. A great quarter so far from Brigades, Peter.
I think that Ahmet Watkins is going to be a handful when Brigades have got the wind. He's a very talented footballer. He's going to be able to kick with the wind. That'll be interesting to see.
Ball back in the centre. Boundary umpire bringing the ball, giving it to the senior umpire, Robert Bennett. Umpires this afternoon, Robert Bennett, his son Theo, and Randall Starling. So Theo and Randall, two of the up-and-coming young umpires in the GNFL. Great to see them getting the game of the day this afternoon on Radio Mama, the home of GNFL footy. Drennan O'Malley Motors game day. The last weekend prior to country, we're getting underway in Perth next Friday. And, of course, Radio Mama will have all the action. Ball comes forward now. Towns have an opportunity. Towns throw the ball on their boot. And an opportunity now, but Brigades are very good back there. And Brigades again through Perham and Ronan get the ball up the ground, and they have an opportunity to clear now, and that's Evans. He gets it out wide and goes the way of Ronan. Ronan has the ball on the back flank, gets it up towards centre wing, looking again for Henry Perham. Henry Perham just in front of the scoreboard. Won't be a long quarter because there's been only 2 goals scored. Ball comes forward, goes the way. A whistle on play, free kick goes the way. Sam Millett will get the free kick, gets it up the ground and finds a teammate there. And maybe Mick Quick and also Clay Sippler wear helmets, so quite often we get them confused.
One has a lot more tats than the other, Glenn.
Yes, but from this distance, I'm lucky to see the helmet. Ball to be thrown back in on the outer side of WA Country Builders Stadium. Good crowd here for the big one this afternoon. Number 2 side Towns taking on number 4 side Brigades, and Brigades in good position as we head towards quarter time. Still plenty of game in this contest because there's still plenty of time this first term, with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton. And umpires seen a free kick, a player put the ball down inappropriately, so Brigades can go forward, and they do. And Jordan O'Brien gets it up towards half forward, ball running free. This is dangerous, goes the way of Ryder. Christopher Ryder soccers the ball forward, but the ball goes out of bounds. And the boundary throw in just deep in the left forward pocket. So 7 points plays, 6 in favour of Brigades. But Towns have got the breeze at their back in this first term, and it is worth 2 to 3 goals at least.
Certainly is, Glenn. But a fickle breeze coming slightly across the ground, going back the way of Ryder. He swings around on a 50-cent piece, kicks into the man on the mark. The ball goes to ground. That's Leon Jones Jr. Coming out, going the way now of a player. He shoots on goal. And that was, in the dying stages, a beautiful goal by Christopher Ryder. And he has, put Brigades in an interesting position going into the first break of the afternoon, thanks to Drennan O'Malley. It is Brigades, 2 goals, 1-13. They lead Towns 1 straight goal, 6. And you're listening to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.
It's a good goal, isn't it?
Today's Drennan O'Malley Motors Game Day is brought to you by our great sponsor GT Russell Chartered Accountants and Business Advisors, helping your business work for you today and tomorrow. Stay tuned to the home.
please. And to talk about the first term, Peter Keefe.
Yeah, in an open quarter, that was good to see. I don't know if it's going to be the same this quarter because Towns are going to be in trouble. Best players, just quickly before they bounce the ball. Lucas Ranham, 7 possessions, playing very well. Evans with 7, playing very well. Joel Patrick, the back there, is really good in the back line. And Clay Sipola for Towns. DeRose has had 5. Forrester, McGregor and Hoffhammer.
Okay, we're about to get this second term underway with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. Umpire Bennett puts the ball into the air, and Johnson has the best of it. Towns player gets tackled, didn't have any prior opportunity, and Will Faithful is going in hard for Towns in this quarter. So it's a 7-point ball game, very, very tight indeed. Goes the way of Brigades, and Brigades get it forward through Jared White, and Brigades have the breeze at their back in this quarter. Ball goes the way of Mick Quick, the captain, has the ball held to him, had no prior opportunity. As we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton, Lara Dalton, the member for Geraldton, and looking at the other game being played up at Northampton. Northampton had first use of a very strong breeze, and Northampton 5-7 lead Rovers, no score. I'm still waiting on a score to come through from the Railways and Mullawa game being played at the recreation ground. As Towns go across the ground, and Josh DeLacy has the opportunity now to relieve the pressure. He goes even further across the ground, looking there for his captain, or his former captain, in Rowan Farris. Farris gets it up the ground, finds Drew McGregor. Drew McGregor takes one bounce, uses his pace to good effect, puts it on his left boot, kicks it up the ground, looking up there for a teammate. That teammate is Jalen Parsons, who took 10 last week. Goes back to McGregor. McGregor gets it up to Tim Bodell. Tim Bodell now, can he put a handle on it? He does so, breaks the tackle, puts the ball down, and that's the way the umpire has seen it. And the free kick will go the way of Jack Deschamps. And Tim Bodell probably had the ball knocked away from him, but the umpires probably don't care.
The ball going the way of Deschamps now. Down the wing it goes. Up goes Johnson. Having a good battle this afternoon with the younger player there. We're talking about Morphew, but it looks like Johnson might have been injured in that collision there as the ball goes toward the boundary now. The umpire says no prior opportunity. So Johnson's back okay now, but he nimbly got up just a moment ago. The two ruckmen looking after each other. Morphew knew that something had gone wrong and making sure the big fella was okay. The ball coming in now, setting themselves. Morphew knocks it away. Going the way of a player there in Mason. Tries to knock it forward, but the whistle has sounded. And a free kick will go the way of this player in Sipola. Sipola sends it inboard now. There he is again. He's racking up kicks this afternoon. And Jack Deschamps. Deschamps to the outer side finds Ronan. Ronan's away now through the middle of the ground. He can set something up quite easily here. Mark here to be timely. Over the back. Is it going to go to a rider? Goes one way then the other. Over into the pocket. Going the way of Jamie Ryder. Tries to get it to Christopher Ryder, but it's curtailed in his efforts. The umpire says he ran out of bounds, I think, Glenn. And the ball will be thrown in deep attack now for Brigade. So Brigades have the wind at their back now, the breeze at their back. About a 2 to 3 goal breeze. Fickle slightly going across the ground. Did Towns use it as they should have? We'll soon find out. Brigades don't have it. Towns do, and that is a player in Faithful that kicks it towards the boundary. And Faithful, new Faithful entered the world this week. I know that's something we don't talk about much on football, but the Faithful family, one on Carnarvon family and the Venturini family, welcome a new little bubba.
Yes, we wish them well. There goes the kick in from Brigades, just in front of the scoreboard, right up towards the teeth of goal. Ball goes across the face of goal now. Towns need to get it out of there in a hurry. Towns player gets shoved out of it. The umpire said the player was dealt with inappropriately. So we have Towns' defence with the ball right on the back line.
Glenn, I hate to say it sound like a broken record each week, but when you've got a 3 or 4 goal win, kicking the ball long is not probably the worst option.
No,
to get the ball in there.
Yes.
Once it's there, it's there.
So the ball very close to the boundary line. The umpire will come in and throw the ball in. So we've played 4 minutes in this second term with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack, on the Chemist Warehouse scoreboard. Brigades are 2 goals, 1-13. Towns are 1 goal straight. So Brigades haven't done a lot of damage on the scoreboard in the opening 4 minutes. Ball comes back out and the ball goes out of bounds on the full now. So an opportunity for Towns to kick the ball back in. And Cameron Hoffhammer is the player to bring the ball back in for the Towns Bulldogs as we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton. Lara Dalton, the member for Geraldton. And we can tell you at quarter time at the recreation ground, the Red Dust Holdings recreation ground, Railways 2, I would imagine, had the breeze. Maybe not. Railways 6-5, lead Mullawa 1 behind.
Ball in the half-back line now. It's with Morphew. He's having a great contest with Johnson today, isn't he, Pete?
Yeah, a couple of big fellas. Big man flying, the little man go by chain.
Yes.
Hello, look here.
Push and shove on the boundary here as the ball comes forward from Morphew. Everyone's getting involved as it is now the Towns dugout. Players getting up. About 3 or 4 players from each club in the melee. The umpires trying to get some control here. Eventually they do. Players asked to... The card is coming out from the umpire, and let's just see who that card is going to. It looks like the card is going to be awarded to Jalen Parsons. Jalen Parsons has received a yellow card.
And is he off too?
And does it look like it may be Isaac Ronan off as well? So not quite sure whether Isaac was awarded the yellow card as well, but the umpire will take the ball forward now, and a free kick will go the way of Brigades, and it's Johnson who will be the recipient of the kick. So Big Johnson, as we said, having a good game this afternoon with Morphew.
Filming footy should have had very good vision of that. So
they should, so it'll be good to look at that later on this evening for us, Glenn. The ball going forward now for Johnson. It's a kick into the half-forward area. Hanging around the back is a rider, as you'd expect, lurking. Can't get the ball. The ball is caught up in the legs of a few different players there. Will be thrown up just in the shadows of the goals for Brigades. Umpire Starling grabs it, throws it up quickly. Morphew. In he goes again, rucks it away, goes to ground, players quickly set upon, doesn't get too far, and will do it all again.
Peter, it's changed, the game's changed, Towns have gone defensive, so everyone's back in that defensive half, so there's no one in the forward line.
And you thought that would happen, Pete. You mentioned that, I don't know if it was on air at quarter time, that you thought that would be the case, because the breeze obviously is quite strong. Towns didn't use it to their advantage, and they're scared that Brigade certainly will. Ball thrown in now.
They're holding them up.
Yeah, it's only early in the second term though, Pete.
Yep.
Young Ronan is brought to ground. Gets up again. In fact, it's O'Brien. So the ball is a free kick going the way of the defender for Towns. He goes across the face of goal. Going the way of Farris now. He gets it back. He takes 1-2 bounces on the far side of the wide expanses of WA Country Builders Stadium. The ball coming inboard now. Towns still have it, or do they? A bit of a contest in front of the scoreboard. Comes off hands and goes toward the boundary and finds the sanctuary of the white line. So a free kick has been awarded though. I think it'll go the way of Forrester, or is it Farris who has the ball? A little bit dark here this afternoon. Rain may fall before the game is out. Ball going forward now. Up they go. No mark is taken. Towns have an opportunity here as Leon Jones Jr. doesn't get the mark he should have taken, but he cleverly knocks it in front of him. Has one player to beat. That player watches him go one way then the other. Jones decides to have a shot on goal, but there's Lucas Ronan in the last line of defence. He wasn't able to stop the ball. In runs another player in Garlett. He's desperate to get it through the big sticks and saves on the line by Lucas Ronan.
So the ball comes back into play. Ronan did well there. Eventually they got it through for a force behind. Better than the alternative and seeing a goal. The ball comes back the way of Evans, gets it out, and the ball gets knocked away from the player there in Jesse Castleton, very close to the boundary line. Towns go inboard, and it goes the way of La Rosa. Good hard-working midfielder. Likes it rough and tumble, does La Rosa. He's a pretty good player. La Rosa on centre wing, outer side of WA Country Builders Stadium, takes them on, kicks it up towards full forward, but nobody home for the Bulldogs.
Johnson's everywhere today.
And a good mark to the big man. Hayden Johnson enjoying the challenge against Lachlan Morphew this afternoon. Goes by hand there to Joel Patrick. Patrick comes up the ground, gets in the way of the player in Rama Evans. Evans gets in the way of the player there who's a new player in Jared White. And Towns can regroup. Lachlan Morphew gets a kick forward, but it goes back towards the Brigades player there, and a good bit of play there from the player in Jared White.
Jared White sends it inboard and finds Johnson again. One of the biggest possession getters on the park, one would think, at this period of the game. Johnson asking players to go forward. He kicks it in that direction. He's looking for Castoni. Castoni took a nice mark. The umpire did pay it in the end. He got it up early and he got it on the way down. So good mark by Castoni. Castoni now kicks into the half-forward area. Could we see another mark over the back here? Looks like a couple of players waiting. One of those to do so is the player there in Ahmet Watkins. He's unsuccessful though. The ball comes back his way, or does it? DeLacy has it now. He gets it out on a wing. He's got a couple of people out here, but he decides to stop with the ball. In front of him, in the line of fire, there's a player there in Jack Deschamps. He gets it down the wing. He tries to get it to a teammate. Free kick has been awarded, going the way of Faithful. Well, his better game so far this season. Faithful sends it forward, but straight down the throat again
50 metres
of the player there in Jared White. Jared White receives a 50-metre penalty for an indiscretion late in that passage of play.
Have a shot, son.
So Jaden Davis, the player that gave the free kick away on the 50 metres. So the ball goes from 80 metres out to 30 metres out. So an opportunity now. So the Breeze will be at the back of the Brigades player, and Jared White has been prominent in the last minute or so. Had a few possessions. So Jared White kicking to the golf club end. And as we mentioned, Towns had the Breeze in the first quarter, kicked only one goal. And Brigades haven't scored a goal with the Breeze yet at all.
Nice
Brigades
kick.
Looks very good. Jared White gets the first of the afternoon for himself and the third this afternoon for Brigades. And on the Chemist Warehouse scoreboard, Brigades are 3 goals, 1, 19. They lead Towns 1 goal, 1, 7.
Almost a torpedo, that one, Pete.
Yeah, it's a ripper, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It's the Towns have held them defensive, but you feel as though Brigade's going to break it open, but they haven't as yet. And to Towns' credit, they've worked very hard. It's a long way home to run the ball into the wind to kick a goal when you play this defensive pattern. Yeah,
Brigades 3-1-19, lead Towns 1-1-7. Brigades kicking toward the golf club end. That's the southern end of WA Country Builders Stadium. Had a Breeze at their back. The Breeze, we're not quite sure, going slightly across the ground, but obviously favouring that end by at least 2 to 3 goals perhaps. The ball back in the middle now. This quarter brought to you by Melissa Price, the member for Durack. Hello to Melissa, who listens into our broadcasts each and every week. Ball back in the middle now. Players setting themselves. Up they go. Johnson working hard against Morphew. Neither of those players wins it on that occasion. Going forward now to the guys of that player there in Mason. Mason into the pocket, or just outside the centre square, I should say. The ball goes up, a bit of a contest, and the umpire will relieve the pressure. So this game is at an interesting situation at the moment. Brigades can't quite break the shackles, and Towns not quite sure what to do when they get it into their forward line. So it's going to be interesting to see what will happen in the next few minutes as we see La Rosa go to ground. He tries to keep the ball in. The umpire says, no, give it to me, boys. Johnson and Morphew. Great to watch. Two ruckmen, classy ruckmen, at their best here in the GNFL. The ball going to the far side of WA Country Builders Stadium. Player throwing himself on top of the ball on that occasion. The ball spills free, goes away of Forrester. Forrester gives it to a teammate who miskicks it on that occasion, but Johnson is able to accept the ball for Brigades. Breen gets it in the middle of the ground. He gives it away to a teammate who goes one way, the ball goes the other, going back the way now of Mason. Mason into the half-forward area. The mark is taken by Leon Jones Jr. Had a great game in his debut a couple of weeks ago. 9-goal game, I think it was. Into the half-forward area it goes now. It's picked up by Mason. Mason will shoot on goal. Will he put it through the sticks? No, he hits the post and resulted in a minor score. So 6 goals last occasion, or last outing for Leon Jones Jr.
Ball to be brought back into play. Comes the way of Brigades.
He could play on this side, couldn't he, if he wanted to?
Yeah, a bit unlucky there. Towns had an opportunity there through Aiton Mason. He couldn't finish off, but he did a pretty good effort.
Good kick.
Ball comes the way of centre wing, and Hayden Johnson takes a good strong mark. Johnson very good around the ground.
He's dominating today, Glenn.
Johnson gets the kick forward, goes the way of a teammate. Brigades have an opportunity to recover through a player there in Caden Dan. Ball very close to the boundary line, and the free kick would go the way of Brigades. And Caden Dan is that player. Caden Dan back from injury. Dan to kick the ball up into the depths of the attacking zone. Brigades, Fletcher Clasthorne goes over the top, almost to mark. Could have been paid. Umpire said you didn't hang on to it long enough. And once again, a big pack develops. And the Towns players asking the question. And the umpire will come in and throw the ball.
Harsh. I thought that was a mark, didn't
I saw Josh Kennedy take a mark very similar a few weeks ago.
Ball comes forward, comes back towards Towns. They throw it on their boot, but offline. And the Breeze grabs it and sees it across the boundary line, out of bounds on the full. So an opportunity for Brigades to send the ball back to whence it came.
Glenn, before this quarter, we said Ahmed Watkins is going to be dangerous, but it's pretty hard when everyone's, he's got
everyone in. Yeah, once again, we see everyone in the forward line, and like we said, it was going to happen. And Towns naturally going to try and shut it down when Brigades have got the ball in their forward line, or have the ball at their end. Once again, Clastorni goes forward, but the ball still running free. Brigades see the ball out of bounds.
When a 6'8" man gets off the ground, it's nearly double that, isn't it?
Yeah, he's looking dangerous, isn't he? He doesn't mind having a crack.
He doesn't.
14 and a half minutes gone in this second term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack, and on the Chemist Warehouse scoreboard. Interesting scoreline. Brigades are 3-1. Towns are 1-2. And Towns get the ball across the ground, and they have it on the deep boundary, and it goes the way of Drew McGregor. McGregor gets it up the ground, up towards half-back, but Brigades have an opportunity. Picked up by Clay Sippler. Sippler shoots on goal, but he's offline, 1 point only. And on the scoreboard for Chemist Warehouse, Brigades are 3 goals, 2-20. They lead Towns 1 goal, 2-8. As we quickly go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton, Lara Dalton, the member for Geraldton. Quarter time at other games, and Northampton 5-7-37 lead Rovers, no score. And Railway 6-5-41 lead Mullawall, 1 behind.
Seppler was McGovern-esque in that interception, Glenn. He looked pretty good as the ball comes out of defence now for Towns. Under siege somewhat. Our Brigade's getting value for effort though. Towns are stifling them. The last hurdle. The ball coming forward. Not too far into the breeze, going toward the boundary. Goes the way of Johnson. Starting to get leather poisoning in this quarter, Pete.
Yeah, he's playing well, Spud.
He is.
It's been a pretty good ruck battle.
Is he going to Country Week, Glenn?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know, though.
He'd be a big in if he is.
Yes.
So the ball about to be thrown in now. Just south of our broadcast position here from the Ponce Jackson grandstand. Up they go. It's knocked down by Morphew. He got up into the air pretty high on that occasion. Rama Evans works hard, holds one player and knocks it forward with the other. Strong young fella. Sends it forward down, finds Leon Jones Jr. Jones Jr. sees the lead inboard and he finds that player. That player is McGregor. McGregor goes to the other side of the ground and finds Mason, and Towns are away. Mason just inside of the forward 50. He sees the lead, or does he? Running out is Bodell. He's a little bit too late on the occasion, so too Faithful. But Faithful works hard to get the ball. He sends it inboard to Mason again. Mason shoots on goal, but it drops short inside the goal square. And there he is again, the youngster that stopped a couple of goals so far this afternoon in Ronan. He gets it out of danger, sends it into space. Perham's there. He goes one way, then the other. Gets it over to Luff. Luff is unable to juggle the ball, but does well to knock it back toward the way of his teammates. But there's Mason again. Mason into the half-forward area, and Garlett takes a nice mark also at full forward. He sends it inboard, and there is McGregor. So McGregor now, it's time to settle, coming right down the ground. Is this player in Farris? Farris shoots for goal. He's a little bit too quick as a defender.
There's a back
through for the minor score.
Put him back on the back line.
Looking at the scoreboard for Chemist Warehouse, and Towns are 1 goal, 3-9. Brigades are 3 goals, 2-20. 11-point ball game. It was 7 points in favour of Brigades at quarter time. We've played 18 minutes in this second term with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. So really they haven't made a lot of headway with the breeze. So congratulations to Towns. They've held them back pretty well as Brigades bring the ball out of defence up towards the centre of the ground. Almost a good mark taken by the Towns player. The umpire says play on. And a bit of pushing and shoving going on. And the Towns player there was Drew Forrester, who almost took that good mark. He gets flung out of it. Umpire comes in, picked up now by the Brigades speedster in Ryder. Ryder gets it up towards full forward.
Watkins.
Ball running free. Picked up by the Brigades player, and Assam Ahmad Watkins gets his second of the afternoon. And all of a sudden, as we head towards time on in this second term on the Chemist Warehouse scoreboard, Brigades getting a nice margin now. Brigades 4-2-26, lead Towns 1-3-9. And you're tuned to Radio Mama. We're the home of GNFL footy.
Pete, you talked about Towns sort of in the back line here trying to stop everything they can, but you can only hold for so long.
That's right.
If the shackles are broken, then there's no other option really, is there?
Quick ball movement. They've got the ball, kicked it along. Quick ball movement will be the zone if you move it quickly, and that's what they've done. And Ahmad only needs a sniff, and then he kick a goal.
Yeah, certainly does, and he knows the lie of the land. He can read the bounce, and he done that once again as he took it forward. He got a bit of speed up and scored the fourth goal of the afternoon for Brigades. This quarter brought to you by Melissa Price, the member for Durack. Country Week, we're headed there next Friday. You can tune into Radio Mama to hear all of the action.
I'm very, very impressed, Peter, with Lucas Ronan. He's a very, very good young footballer.
Rama Evans breaks out of the middle of the ground here into the half-forward area, looking for that player there in Dan. Dan is beaten by 2 opponents on that occasion, going the way now. The player there in Mason, he sends it forward. McGregor Back to a teammate. He kicks it off the side of his boot. It's not out on the full bounce, just inside the line, I think, and the ball will be thrown in. So Brigades just holding sway as we head to the middle stages of this Drennan O'Malley game day. Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football. Players setting themselves. Johnson, geez, been good this afternoon. More for you too. Ditto for both of them as the ball goes to ground and bottle it up, and looks like three youngsters in the sandpit, Pete.
Yeah, poor old Lockie's going to have to battle all day against Fletcher and Spud, but they're all going well. Spud's playing well.
Yeah, Spud, we're talking about Johnson there, gets it to Luff. Luff over the back for Brigades, unable to time the ball. The ball goes to ground. He has another bite of the cherry, does young Jackson Luff. Dives on top of it. The umpire lets it go on.
Son of Bradley.
I think he's given away a free kick, so holding the ball. There was no spark in that piece of play. Okay, so the ball coming forward now. Looks like it's Parsons who sends it forward, but straight down the throat of Rama Evans. He's starting to rack up possessions. Glenn Young Evans.
Yeah, he's going to Country Week.
He certainly is. PSA football, I think it's for Wesley, I could be wrong, Scotch College perhaps. Over the back of the pack goes Clistorni again. He's wanting to get up there. He's going to take one hell of a mark this afternoon, sooner or later.
Or he's going to hurt someone.
Oh, well, I think he's hurt a couple of people already as the ball comes off hands, Glenn, and spills over the boundary.
Yeah, boundary umpire to throw the ball back into play. If Brigades were to get another goal before half-time, it would be a cutting blow because Towns have worked really hard in this quarter. But we've seen a couple of goals to Brigades and no goals for Towns against the Breeze, but it is difficult. Ball goes the way of Henry Perham. For Brigades, throws it on his boot and very close to the boundary line. Joshua DeLacy has marked on the half back line or the back pocket deep on the boundary. Josh DeLacy kicks the ball back to whence it came, but the ball is out of bounds on the full, so the free kick will go the way of Brigades, and the Brigades player Henry Perham with the ball. Henry Perham bringing the ball in for the Hawks, and Henry kicks it up towards the forward pocket. And once again, Clistorni flies high. Ball combs the ground, picked up by Ryder. Gives it back towards Ronan. He gives it away to the player there, Mick Quick. Mick Quick kicks it towards full forward, but the ball punched away. Ball goes out of bounds. There'll be a boundary throw in deep in the right forward pocket.
I'm letting Pete that Clistorni was a high jumper at school too, I reckon.
Yeah, he's actually a very good target to kick the ball to because if he doesn't mark it, he knocks the pack over.
He certainly does. Quarter half-time, I should say, here on Drennan O'Malley game day. And the game is interestingly poised, to say the least, here at half-time. It is Brigades 4-2-26. They lead Towns 1-3-9. And you're listening to the home of GNFL football. This is Radio Mama.
Our Drennan O'Malley Motors.
on Radio Mama. We're the home of Country Week footy, and Glenn Barnett and Peter Ferenza and Peter Keefe keeping you across all the action today. And it's the round 11 of the GNFL Premiership season, doing it all today for Nexus Airlines. As we quickly go around the grounds, with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton, Lara Dalton, the member for Geraldton. At half-time at the football, up at Percher International Oval, third position Northampton taking on the 6th place Rovers. And it's going to that form line. Northampton 6-10-46 lead Rovers 1-8. Half-time of the footy out at Red Dust Holdings Recreation Ground. 5th place Railways confronting the 7th position Mullawar. And Railways 12-7 lead Mullawar 1-2, so Railways in control there. And our halftime summaries with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton, Lara Dalton and the member for Geraldton. And we can tell you that for Brigades, Hassan Ahmad Watkins has kicked 2, Christopher Ryder has kicked 1, Jared White has kicked 1, and for Towns their goal scorer was Arthur Garlett. Peter Keefe is our expert commentator this afternoon. And Peter, what do you think of the first half, and who are some of the better players?
Well, I think it's gone a little bit to script. Glenn, we said that Brigades would be a bit hard to beat, and Towns would be fairly defensive, and that's pretty much how the second quarter happened. The first quarter was quite open, it was good to watch. Second quarter, I think Towns, they realised that they needed to tighten it up, and they tightened up their forward line. You can't let Hassan Watkins off the leash and give him open space. So they did that, and they did it quite well. It's not pretty football to watch, and when they play defensive like that, but that's fine. If Towns have got the win this quarter, what I would like to see is kick the ball long into open space. Give young Leon Jones and these guys an option, because they're undersized. And if you kick the ball long in the air, Joel Patrick and these guys are going to pick it off Spud, Joel Patrick and that. So nothing wrong with mungling the ball, horrible flat punts, whatever you want to do, into open space, and let these guys run onto the football and try and kick a goal.
We were talking about it with Mick Thompson, of course, one of your favourite coaches of years gone by this morning. And he was saying, not many of the young players know how to do anything other than drop punts. They don't know how to do a spiral punt anymore. They don't know how to do a torpedo punt. No. They really only know drop punts, and it makes it very hard in these weather conditions.
I guess it doesn't have to be a torpedo or whatever it is, but if you
get it swirling.
When you're undersized, kick the ball long, the ball will carry the pack. Mongrel, it doesn't have to be particularly a drop punt. But just quickly, sorry guys, best players. Lucas Rowland's best on the ground, I feel, 10 possessions. And Evans has had 10. Both those guys have been dominant. Spud's been very good. And Joel Patrick's been very good in the back line for Brigades. Drew McGregor and Brian Fast probably holding sway. And Lockie's been working very hard in the ruck. And I'd like to see this Leon Jones young bloke get off the lease if you can.
Okay, about to get this third term underway, of course.
Spud, Hayden Johnson to his mates.
Drennan O'Malley Motors. Umpire Randall Starling holds the ball aloft. Umpires this afternoon, Theo, Rob Bennett and Randall Starling. Umpire puts the ball into the air. The big fellas go at it. Lachlan Morphew wins it to ground. Picked up by the player there in Bo Walker. Gets it forward, but only as far as the Brigade's hard-working Rama Evans. He gets it across the ground, goes back towards the player there in O'Brien. In fact, it was Henry Perham who's had a good game. Henry Perham receives the ball again. Henry gets it up towards half forward, looking up there for his teammate in Michael Quick, but the Towns defender in Rowan Farris cuts it off, kicks it back towards the centre, and Towns have an opportunity now through William Faithful. And William Faithful has the ball in the centre of the ground.
Getting a few possessions this afternoon. William Faithful, a premiership player with the Towns side. Not too many of them in the lineup these days. The ball going forward now. Parsons tries to kick it into space, but back in defence, Patrick comes in as a super stopper. Make sure the ball doesn't get too far and finds the sanctuary of the boundary. 17 points was the difference at halftime in favour of the Hawks. They scored 4 goals to 26 in the first half to Towns 1-3-9. Better effort again with the breeze. Towns have it again, kicking toward the golf club end as the ball goes away of Brigades once again, and our player's done okay too. We're talking about Jack Deschamps, but misses a bounce on that occasion. Didn't judge it right. Back in the middle of the ground, goes away of this player. A big kick from the little man, and I'm talking about Tim Bodell. He didn't waste any time putting his boot into that one. The Breeze picked it up, Pete, and only going through for the minor score.
So the ball will be brought back into play from the Brigades defence, and one of the stars of the Brigades lineup this afternoon in Ronan, and he goes out wide. Lucas Ronan kicks it along the boundary line, gets it up towards half back, looking again for the hard-working player there for the Hawks. And the ball eventually goes towards the boundary line and once again goes forward through the Brigades' defence. Ball drops free, goes the way of Towns. So Towns have got the breeze in this quarter. Although the breeze has dropped to some extent, it's still worthy and still worth a few goals at the golf club end. But the ball is out of bounds, just in front of the Community Bank scoreboard. And Brigades still 4 goals, 2-26. And as Peter mentioned, Towns 1 goal, 4-10.
Community Bank's Jody Bevan here today too, Glenn.
Yes, watching his daughter play in the game prior.
Towns man himself.
Yes, of note. Ball comes the way of the player there in Jalen Davis. Throws it on his boot. Jaden Davis sees the ball taken away from him by the Brigades player. Brigades get it up towards centre wing on the outer side of WA Country Builder Stadium. Picked up now by Towns through Corlett. Brings it in towards DeLacy. DeLacy goes the way of McGregor, who's one of Towns' better players today. McGregor against his old club. Kicks it forward, goes the way of Arthur Garland. He couldn't mark the ball. Towns player has the ball and didn't have prior opportunity. The umpire will give him the opportunity to give it back to him, so the ball will be thrown up at centre half forward. So Towns desperate to get a couple of quick goals with the breeze.
You think they need to do it soon. The ball coming out. LaRosa puts it onto his boot. Doesn't waste any time, firing away at the big sticks. But alas, it's through for the minor score. So the scoreboard ticks over. It is Towns 1-6 or 1-5-11. They are trailing Brigades 4-2-26.
But Peter Keefe, they are trying to kick the ball long, which is something.
Yeah, well,
if they get the accuracy, they are trying to get the ball on the boot quickly.
He wants to stare it's there, it's down there. And also Lockie Morphy, just to kudos to him. He's some of his ruck work's really good to watch.
Certainly is. Lucas Ronan evades his opponents, quickly comes out of defence, almost bottled up in that passage of play. Ball going back the way of Towns now. They send it inboard. Is the mark paid to Forrester or coming further in? In fact, it's Corlett, I think, that has the ball.
No, Forrester.
Forrester, I'm correct. So Forrester now will have a shot on goal. So Drew Forrester, the captain of the Towns side, has been for a couple of years. Been through some tough times with the Bulldogs. So Drew Forrester, walkaway farmer, sends it inboard now. And straight through the middle. That's a timely goal for the Bulldogs. And sees Towns go to 2 goals 6-17. And they trail Brigades 4-2-26.
Yeah, 4.5 minutes gone in this third term.
Took a backward to change things.
Yes, Drennan O'Malley Motors game day. And a great goal there to Drew Forrester, getting the score ticking over. And it's important that Towns keep the pressure on. Still plenty of time in this quarter. And Towns have to be right back in this contest at 3/4 time to give themselves a chance.
Talking about walkaway farmers coming back through the Granite Flats yesterday, boys. It was a beautiful sight, a lovely winter's day, and green, green, green everywhere.
Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful season. Wildflowers will be a little bit late, but it should be good out east.
So the ball back in the middle now. Towns scoring the last goal and just making sure that this game stays in the status quo that it is.
They've had more scoring shots than Brigades.
They certainly have.
So, you know, it's going to be an interesting game.
The ball taking a little while to come back, but umpire Randall has it now. Randall Starling, that is. He's pop Bert Bichetti, a big Towns man at the game today. Ball back in the middle.
Famous family.
Certainly, both of them, Starlings and Bichetti's. The ball being caught up. Players diving on top of it at the bottom of the pack. Is that player in Johnson? He's been good today. Love the way he just puts in all day, does Big Johnson. So too, Rama Evans is impressed me today as well.
It's been a good battle with the big fellas.
The ball in the middle of the ground at Millett. He juggles it one way or the other. Rosa says, give it to me. LaRosa puts it onto his boot, sends it down the ground. But there he is again, Lucas Ronan. Pete, you think he's the best on the park, but that was a beautiful intercepting mark. He gets the ball and sends it forward. He's looking for that player in Rama Evans. Eventually goes away now of Ryder. Good Ryder now for Brigades. Comes wide and finds Mick Quick.
Mick Quick has the ball on centre wing, just in front of our Radio Mama broadcast box. And the player went over the mark, no doubt about that. And the player that gave away the free kick there was Cameron Hoffhammer. So the ball comes up the ground 50 metres. So it was on centre wing, now the ball's on half forward, 48 metres from goal, 45-degree angle. So the ball is with Mick Quick, so it'll be a very difficult kick. So he kicks a short one, looking for Ryder. He meets the player solidly, but Brigades still have the ball forward. goes the way of the other rider. That time it's a big play out there in Christopher. Christopher gets it to a teammate. Brigades player shoots on goal and goes across the face of goal. And Lux of Fortune doesn't go out of bounds on the full. The ball will be thrown back in. So a good bit of play there, but Brigades didn't get the score on the board. And it is very difficult to score against the Breeze, but they have it in there forward.
To be quite honest, Peter, it was a bit of a comedy of errors from Brigades there. They didn't take their opportunities very well, did they?
Absolutely.
Ball coming in now, or is it? The umpire's asked to throw it in again, I think. Ball coming back. It's at the Wonthalla end of WA Country Builders Stadium. The Breeze coming from a northwesterly direction. Picks up the ball coming in. The ball hits the ground. Coming on top of it is Deschamps, but Towns do the better as they get it out of that pack of players. Running into it now to try and collect it is that player there in Riaz Mohammed. Mohammed is thwarted in his attempts, but goes back the way now. The player there in Castleton. Castleton gets it out on the wing, and Clostoni gets the ball. The crowd jeer when Clostoni gets it. The big former basketballer kicks it into the half-forward area, going the way. The player there in Ryder. Two riders are in it, and they're trying to bottle it up, and they do so. And the umpire will throw it up just metres away from the goals for Brigades.
Yes, can Brigades get a goal while they have it there? They've had it up there for about a minute, but as Peter said, they've made hard work of it, but it is tough up there. Picked up now by another Brigades player. He gets
we got it finally.
He can't get the boot to ball, so Towns clear it now, but it'll only come back as far as the Brigades player, and that is Jared White on half forward. Jared White plays on with a short pass, looking again for Hassan. Ball goes away from him, picked up now by Logan McGregor. He couldn't pick it up, and eventually he comes, Drew McGregor I should say. Ball comes the way of the Towns player, but a good mark taken by the Brigades player. Umpires didn't pay the mark. Comes back towards the player there in Parsons. Parsons running with the ball, gets boot the ball, screws it around the corner, but only goes as far as Lucas Ronan, and he's been outstanding back there, as Peter Keefe has mentioned this afternoon. Lucas Ronan, only a very young man, gets the ball up the ground and gets it the way of the player there in Jordan O'Brien, who's one of the co-captains, along with Mick.
He almost took a slip catch then, did Jordan. And he certainly is the quarterback at the moment, is young Lucas Ronan, getting it down the ground, finds Mick Quick. Mick Quick, the helmeted Quick. On the half-back line now, in front of the dugout for Towns, in front of our broadcast position. Players setting themselves. Up goes that player in Farris. Almost got hands to it. Goes away Lockie Morphew. Quickly onto his boot. Garlett pushes. In fact, it is Leon Jones Jr. pushes his opponent out of the way. That player is Perham. Perham will take the free kick. Perham sees this player out in front of our broadcast position. Doesn't meet the intended target. He moves McGregor out. Points his opponent. Takes it forward, but there's Perham again working hard. He gets it back. Goes away now of a couple of players.
They're out here.
So it goes Isaac Ronan across the back to Sippler. Sippler in turn to Rama Evans, and they're away as Lucas Ronan's come right down the ground outside the forward 50. A beautiful lace-out kick. Goes the way of a teammate who couldn't take the mark, and Ahmad Watkins. The ball goes to ground. Ahmad Watkins still working hard. So too the Ryder brothers. The ball goes toward the boundary. Towns out of jail, one would think, as they take it toward that far side of the Floors Road side of WA Country Builders Stadium. Still in their keeping as it comes inboard. The mark is taken by Bodell.
Tim Bodell plays on from centre of the ground, kicks it up towards half forward, looking up there for DeLacy. Ball carries that player, picked up now by Ronan. Ronan soccers the ball forward. Ronan gets the ball forward and gets it up towards a teammate. Ball very close to the boundary line, and there'll be a boundary throw in, and the boundary will be thrown back into play. So the ball to be brought back into play. So we see the ball with the boundary umpire. Time ticking by in this third quarter. Dredden O'Malley Motors quarter. And it is Towns, 2 goals, 6-17. They trail Brigades 4 goals to 26. And it comes back into play. Goes the way of the player there who gives it forward, but a whistle on play. And Tim Bodell has got a free kick. Well deserved. Tim Bodell has the ball on half forward. So Towns have an opportunity to regain some composure, have the ball in their forward 50. There goes Bodell's kick up towards centre half forward, pack into the air, and a good strong mark taken by Bo Walker, and Bo Walker has marked a very good mark too, and he is 40 metres out directly in front. So an opportunity now for Towns to send the ball forward and get back into this contest. If he can get it, gets a short pass, and picked out a teammate. And that teammate has Mark
Forrester.
and Drew Forrester, who runs deep into attack.
Got the last goal for Towns.
Yeah, so he's a goal kicker now as well as being a defender.
Yes.
So Drew Forrester becomes a multiple goal scorer if he kicks this one. So Hassan
Lot closer this time.
Watkins has kicked 2 for Brigades, and now Drew
He's got
Forrester
it.
has kicked 2 for Towns. So Towns well and truly back in this contest, and on the Community Bank scoreboard, it is Brigades 4-2-26, and Towns have kicked the last couple of goals, and Towns are now 3-5-23. We've got a 3-point ball game, and we've only played 12 and a half minutes in this third term with that Premiership quarter on Radio Mama, the home of Country Week footy.
Pete, it's game on.
Yeah, Towns credit. They're working very hard. This Brigade's going to... A goal in the win's going to mean a lot. If they can kick a goal in the win, you feel as though Brigades are going to take off, but they haven't.
Well, Brigades had a couple of opportunities.
Yeah.
They blew it, and
Yep.
Towns, to their credit, rebounded and got the goals on the board.
26 plays 23, a 3-point ball game in favour of Brigades. They've led all day here this afternoon, and will they be able to hold sway come three-quarter time? Only 13 and a half minutes gone, so a little while to go yet in the third term. The Premiership Quarter brought to you by Drennan O'Malley Motors, thanks to Ron, John, Rachel and all of the team there on Chapman Road. The ball back, thrown up into the air. One on this occasion by the big fella in Johnson. Johnson gets it back to Millett. Millett down the line finds Evans.
Very good, this guy.
Rama Evans, he's got the build, he's got the talent, sending into the half-forward area. It's a beautiful one. He's in for Costorni, can't take the mark. Costorni does well to follow the ball to ground. As the ball goes forward again, once again for Brigades, it goes away now of Ryder. He tries to get a check side kick in and finds this player. This player is Caden Dan, and he marks about 20 metres or even closer out of goal. So he's on a reasonable angle, Caden Dan. He's had a haircut too, has the youngster, so looking a little bit different since coming back from injury. Caden Dan. An important goal for Brigades against the Breeze, probably worth about 2 to 3. See what he can do. Kicking toward the Warnteller end.
Oh, no.
Oh, he
Oh, my
shanked
gosh.
it. And it's gone through for the minor score.
That's a Barry Crocker. Shocker.
And there's been an opportunity for the players to change. There's been 3 or 4 players from Towns and 3 or 4 players from Brigades interchange, because they haven't had much chance to do that today, because the game has been on the other side of the ground and it's been a very tight, low-scoring contest. They usually change whenever there's an opportunity to score, and when there has been a score, but there haven't been too many scores. And we've played 14 and a half minutes.
Ronan's playing everywhere, moved into the middle now as Lucas Ronan.
Theo Bennett puts the ball into the air. Hayden Johnson knocks it to ground, goes the way of Sam Knott. He's tackled, umpire says play on, comes back towards Ronan. And
He's got it finally.
Jack the champ.
Finally
gets it away.
paid.
Fletcher Clastorni takes the mark. Clastorni screws the ball around the corner, perhaps a little bit better. Assam Oppenman Watkins picks up the goal
Nope.
and kicks a point. So both wasting opportunities. So Towns still 3-5-23. Brigades get another minor score. They're 4-4-28. So it's a 5-point ball game as we quickly go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton, Lara Dalton, the member for Geraldton. At half-time in the other games, the game being played up at Percher International Oval. At half-time, Northampton 6-10-46 to Rovers 1-2-8. And the other game at the recreation ground for Red Dust Holdings is Railways 12-7, Mullawall 1-2.
28 plays 23 in favour of Brigades, taking
Free
a
kick.
mark. And the half-back line isn't paid, so a free kick will go the way.
Have a shot.
This player in Parsons, he
a goal.
kicks into the full forward area, looks pretty good off the boot, comes off hands,
No.
luckily for Brigades, and through for the minor score.
I hate to harp, Pete, but there's 2 kicks. Bang, bang, you're in the full forward. It's not that difficult.
Okay, the ball coming, special comments coming to you from Peter Bucket Keefe this afternoon. Ronan, he's liked his game, so have I. He comes laterally now to a teammate there who's equal to the task. We're talking about Jared White, new into the lineup for Brigades this year. Down in front of our broadcast position. Not quite. The ball goes up, no mark is taken. The ball goes to ground. Breen is in there. So too is the player there in Deschamps. Didn't like the treatment he received, Deschamps. Push and a shove. The umpire says nothing in that, fellas. But a free kick will go the way of Deschamps. Deschamps, a well-known water polo player here in Geraldton, a good goalkeeper. Off the half-back line. Gee, the kick holding up in the breeze. Up they go. No one could take the mark. In goes that player in Morphew. He's shoved out of the road. Rama Evans racking up kicks. Gets it to the play there, O'Brien. Down the wing it goes, and Ryder up into the air, but a little bit too early. The ball goes to ground, almost outpointed by Bo Walker. The ball goes further forward for Brigades, but it's Towns who are able to bottle it up, or are they? They see the boundary.
Hang on, what happened there?
The player dives on top of the ball. There's another push and shove coming from all quarters here this afternoon, right in front of the Brigades dugout. Umpires move into sort things out. The crowd getting involved here also this afternoon. And a free kick goes the way of Bo Walker. Bo Walker, the coach, off the half-back line. Oh, kicks it to the man on the mark. Going back the way of Ryder now. He gets it to Dan. Dan in turn gets it away to Johnson. Johnson gets one bite of the cherry, then another. Does well, Miss Johnson. He dives on top of the ball when it was out of his keeping. The ball is bottled up. It'll be thrown up just metres away from our broadcast position for Radio Mama.
The game's very much alive. The crowd's involved.
Quite willing at the moment.
And the players are getting involved. Very tight contest here. Third quarter, with thanks to Drill and O'Malley Motors on Radio Mama, the home of Country Week footy. Ball on the settle, picked up by Tim Bodell, throws it on his left boot, comes back towards the player there in Rowan Farris. Farris goes out wider, looking there for Faithful. Faithful goes by hand, gets it back towards the Brigades player, but Jackson Luff's there, kicks it towards half forward, ball flat forward, comes back, and Towns can regroup, or can they? There's a Brigades player and a Towns player, but the Brigades player does not as good as the Towns player, and the Towns player was Reece Andrietia, who does well. Ball goes up towards centre wing. Towns have the numbers, or do they? Brigades player does well. He has the skill. Well done. That again. Well done, Ronan. How good is that? Ronan grabs the ball, kicks it towards half, and play on the ball. Umpire says play on, and the ball will be thrown up. The umpire being asked the question, the umpire said no, he used his body, and it wasn't in his back.
That's a freaky.
So the ball goes the way of the player there in Clastorney, picked up by the player in Chapman. Chapman gives it away of Bodell. He must have had the sun in his eyes. The ball comes back, goes the way of the player there in the Towns player who's done well today, Josh DeLacy. And Josh DeLacy has the ball on half-back.
DeLacy under siege, Towns now, as he kicks it into the half-forward area. Up go all players. Isaac Ronan brings it to ground for the Hawks, gets it away to Perham. Perham in turn gets it to Zippler. Zippler down the middle of the ground, but no intended target is cut off easily in defence there, and that's Jake Chapman. Jake Chapman looks at his options, decides to go straight down the middle. Bo Walker, unopposed, takes an easy mark. He now switches out into the wing, looking for that player in Forrester. Forrester couldn't take the mark, but the bounce is kind for this player. We're talking about Faithful. He plays into the half-forward area. Up they go, over the back. A couple of players try and take the mark, but it goes away of Towns again. They shoot on goal, but off the side of the boot. It was a late rally toward the goals, and I think it is out on the full. So the ball will be brought back in now by Lucas Ronan.
So time on in this third quarter now. So we've seen Towns kick 2 goals, 3 with the breeze, and we've seen Brigades kick 2
very low scoring affair here at WA Country Builders Stadium as Ronan goes across the back, the Floors Road side of Wonthalla here this afternoon in the middle of the ground. Clastorni gets it, he sends it inboard, but it is a reckless kick going back the way of the Towns defender. He finds Bodell. Bodell takes a nice mark just inside the forward 50. Now Bodell's got a big kick on him, so he should back himself here. He's almost directly in front, and a breeze at his back, so he's telling everyone where the mark is. So Bodell, he'll shoot from about 40 metres, 45 metres when he gets onto this one.
Important kick, very
it
important
is. If he gets this one, it's going to make things very interesting as we head to the three-quarter time break. As old Lloydie throw the grass into the air. Bodell looks pretty good. Good kick. Mighty fine. Straight through the middle. Suddenly, things are going Brigade, I should say Towns way, as they hit the lead in our Drennan O'Malley game day.
So Tim Bodell gets his first of the afternoon, but not a more important goal. So now we've seen Towns with the breeze have added 3 goals, 3 in this quarter, and Brigades have picked 2 against it. And Tim Bodell, after kicking the goal, comes off. And
Glenn's the number 1 ticket holder. Tim Bodell.
And I was yelling and screaming with the rest of the Towns crowd and Tim Bodell got a very much needed goal there. So a very entertaining footy here at WA Country Builders Stadium this afternoon. Round 11 of the Nexus Airlines GNFL Premiership season. Ball back in the centre. Let's
You
hope
know
they
you can't
turn the
have
lights on.
favourites, Glenn.
No, I shouldn't know the favourite, but he's my favourite by a mile. Ball comes the way of the players in Brigades. Have the ball. Can they get a late goal? Let's hope they turn the lights on in the last
So we can see the
so we
game.
actually see it. It is pretty dark, but not that dark. But it would be nice to use the lights while we've got it.
One thing, Glenn, I've been a little bit not so positive about Town's tactics at times in defensive pressure, but they look there in front. Good on them.
Yes. Now the ball's with Bastoni.
Oh, look at that.
Bastoni takes them on, puts it on his left foot, and kicks the ball out of bounds. Ran too far, so the umpire being a bit of a sport, and the umpire will put him on his position. So Rowan Farris with the free kick on half-back.
Rowan Farris at half-back, as Glenn said, in front of Bastoni. He kicks it inboard now. He's looking for Lockie Morphew. Takes a nice mark as Morphew in front of his opposite number there in Johnson. Great contest this afternoon. If you've been wanting to watch some young ruckmen at it, they certainly have been a great advert for that as the ball goes forward now again for Towns. They're going to spring in their step as they've hit the lead for the first time in this game this afternoon, although I think they had the first score on the board, but since quarter time they certainly have been behind. So the ball now with O'Brien. O'Brien for Brigades. They do have the breeze in the last term, do the Hawks, as he sends it down the wing in front of our broadcast position. Perham gets it, goes through traffic, gets it away to a teammate. That teammate is Bastoni. Bastoni, nice handball. Gets it away then to the player there in White. White sends it inboard and finds Ryder. Ryder sees the lead. The lead is by this player. That player is Rama Evans, and he'll have a shot on goal before the break. Young Evans is going to back himself, but a little bit far out when you consider conditions. But I don't know how good he is at kicking these big balls, is the youngster.
It's a long way out.
A long
Rama
way.
Evans is going to have a shot for goal. If he scores, he puts his side back in front. Rama Evans. The sign has sounded. It's three-quarter time. It's a big kick by Evans.
Good effort.
But it doesn't make the difference. Stopped short. And at three-quarter time, Towns have a reasonable lead in the context of this particular match. It is Towns 4 goals 6:30. They lead Brigades 4-4-28. And you're listening to Radio Mama, as Glenn said, the home of Country Week football.
time, Towns are holding the lead the first time they have throughout the day. They did kick the first goal of the day, but the first time they've ever held the lead at a break. And Towns, 4 goals, 6-30. Brigades, 4-4, 28. 2 points to the margin. Brigades will come home with the breeze at their back. Peter Keefe, what have you thought about the first 3 quarters?
Yeah, well done to Towns. Worked hard. This quarter, they're going to have to kick 1 or 2 into the wind, which hasn't been done all day. So you'd like to think Brigades will kick a few. Towns have to kick 1 into the wind.
Ball thrown up by umpire Theo Bennett. The big fellas go at it. Hayden Johnson wins to the ground. LaRosa's there. In goes the hard-working Sam Millett, trying to get the ball forward for his side. Whistle on play, and free kickers go the way of Towns. So Towns get the free kick through LaRosa. LaRosa puts it on his right boot, kicks it forward. Looking up there for Parsons. He couldn't mark the ball. Comes back to the very good player this afternoon in Evans. Evans comes across the ground, finds a teammate who's done okay, Jared White on centre wing, clubroom side. So the last 20 minutes or so in this game, and at the moment Towns are in front. Towns have it. Can they get a goal against the trend? Goes the way of Parsons. He slaps it the way of Rowan Farris. Parsons, who kicked 10 last week, throws it on his boot, and the ball will drop short. Ball slapped away. Goes the way of Brigades defence. In goes Towns now. Picked up by Arthur Garland. No, it's not. It was a player there in Leon Jones Jr. and he's kicked a minus score. So an important score it is all the same. And on the scoreboard for total workwear, Towns are 4 goals, 3-21. Brigades are 4-4, 28.
Going by the windsock, it's almost a 2 to 3 goal breeze behind Brigades. Can they do something with it? One must think that it is a bit indifferent out there on the ground, though. The ball going forward now for Brigades, but Towns off the half-back line, LaRosa. He's been good this afternoon, serviceable, as they say. The ball going the way of Towns now, sending into the half-forward area, but over the back, it's picked up now by this player. We're talking about Jared White. He goes one way, then the other, a little bit miffed in what he has to do. Rama Evans isn't, though. He goes forward, gives it back to White. White has space now in front of our broadcast position.
Kick the ball.
He sends it down the wing, but straight down the throat of his opposite number. So the ball was at centre wing. Towns are starting to get more confidence now as they send it forward. Parsons there. He can't take the mark. He knocks it down in front of him and finds the sanctuary of the boundary.
Yeah, they have got the breeze, but the breeze, as we know, doesn't do it for you. You've got to work pretty hard. But Towns are very good at shutting the game down, and they've done a lot of practice in that regard. And at the moment, they hold the margin by 3 points. Early stages of this final term, with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants. Boundary umpire puts a good ball back into play. Ball comes out, goes the way of Mason. He gets it out, looking for LaRosa. But in goes Brigades to Champ, goes to Evans, goes the way of Caden Dan. Caden Dan takes the ball forward, gets it up towards the centre-half forward position. Brigades have an opportunity, but the Brigades player there, Ryder, went without it, but he goes back in, retrieves it. Ryder has it now, throws it up towards full forward, looking up there for Mick Quick.
Oh, good mark.
And Mick Quick, running with the flight of the ball, takes a very good mark deep in the left forward pocket, kicking to the golf club end.
He's going to go banana
So
kick.
a very tough kick from where he is, Mick Quick. He's been told by his teammates to go back and have a shot. So all of a sudden, Brigades could take the lead, but it'll be a very, very tough kick from where he is. He's on the boundary line, about 25 metres out. There goes his kick.
Made something
Looks
of
pretty
nothing.
good. So Mick Quick gets his first of the afternoon, and Brigades get their 5th. And on the total workwear scoreboard, Brigades in the opening 3 minutes of this final term go to 5 goals, 4-34. They lead Towns 4-7-31. And you're on Radio Mama, the home of Country West.
Isn't it amazing, Pete? Check side kicks and younger players are more gettable than straight in front sometimes.
Yeah, well, that was a drop punt from a really tough angle. It was great goal. And it's going out of the game a little bit, that banana. And remember last year they were kicking them from everywhere.
Oh, they were, but when you see it in the AFL, you know it's already in the book, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's already in the book. Ball back in the middle now, and as you may have heard from Glenn Barner, Brigades have regained the lead, 34 plays 31. Overcast conditions here in the last quarter, brought to you by GT Russell Chartered Accountants, and Grant's getting very busy now as the end of the financial year is hit, and he probably can't even come out and do his job for Railways today, but I'm sure he made time for that. The ball coming out of the defence now goes the way of McGregor, out of the middle, I should say. And He's been good this afternoon as Faithful on a wing. Of course, as we said, one of the last remnants, along with Farris from the halcyon days, premiership players into the half-forward area. He's looking for Parsons, and he takes the mark, does Big Parsons. And no, the umpire says he dealt with the opposite number there in Perham. Perham accepts the free kick, gets it out now to Breen.
Good cricket, this kid.
Yeah, imagine so. On the Floors Road side, he kicks it down the wing. Up go two players. Castoni was one of those. A mark couldn't be taken. The ball spills free. Back the way of the defence now for Towns. Towns do well to get it back out on the wing, and they still have possession. So Towns, they're not actually holding sway, but they're not letting Brigades get away with anything. With a goal that they've just got a nice goal from our player in the Mick Quick. It's put them back in the lead, but Towns, they're sporting on that passage of play to try and equal the task, but in the middle of the ground.
Here's your man.
Castoni takes the mark. Castoni now, nice little handball to Rama Evans. Evans knows what he has to do. He runs when he kicks the ball. I like that sort of play. Ball into the half-forward area, goes the way of Dan. Dan's got someone to help him there, or has he? The player there is White, but he's not equal to the task. Goes back the way now of the ball the way he wants. Back on the half-back line, it goes the way of La Rosa.
So La Rosa gets it back over towards Forrester. Forrester puts it on his left boot, kicks it up towards the young player in Jones. Jones handballs away just in the nick of time. Faithful back to Jones, towards Forrester, back towards Jones. Towns running the ball forward. Jones runs the fair way, gets a kick away up towards full forward, and the Towns almost a good mark. Brigades defender putting good pressure on. Ball only 20 metres from goal. Umpire giving him plenty of opportunity, and the umpire will come in and throw the ball up. So
gee, that was good play by Lucas Ronan there. Isaac Ronan, was it? Because the player he was on was a lot bigger and a lot stronger on that occasion.
Towns in the forward line, goes the way of the player there. Gets it forward, goes the way of Evans, goes back to the player who played his part earlier, and Jared White.
There we go.
Gets it up towards the player there, and Caden Dan. Caden Dan, back from injury, gets it towards Sam Millett. Millett throws it on his boot, kicks it up towards half forward. Looking there for Jack DeChamp, and he couldn't hold the mark, and the players having a bit of trouble holding their usual marks today.
Dude, that Rama Evans has taken off for the possession count. He's really going.
He's unbelievable.
He couldn't get a tackle on him. He's got that type of build, hasn't he? He just bustles through, does young Evans. Of course, as I said, playing PSA in Perth, I think for Scotch College. Former Nagle Catholic College students, of course. Off the half-back line goes the way of McGregor now for Towns. Tries to spread the game out, but doesn't pay off on this occasion. Going back the way now of this player, Muhammad. Muhammad's gets away to a teammate just in time before he's set upon. And on the half-forward line, it's marked by Mick Quick. Last goal scorer for Brigades, a little bit far out on this occasion. Sees a few players further up the line, fisted away by the defender for Towns. It's only Towns who can gather it here. Goes the way now of Tyler Collette. Gets a handball out to the outer wing on the Floors Road side. Running in to try and collect it. Other Towns players who hold possession as it goes off boot, down the line, off hands. The boundary's closed, but the sanctuary isn't there for Brigades or Towns as it goes away now. That player in Sipler, he kicks toward the boundary line, bounces just inside, I think. Well, in fact, it's out on the full, I think. No, bounce just inside. So the ball will be thrown in at centre wing here. Time ticking away. It is, I think, 8 minutes gone, 8.5 minutes in the final term.
Boundary umpire puts the ball back into play, and the scoreboard, the electric scoreboard, certainly a beacon, the brightest thing around at the moment. It's very dull here at WA Country Builders Stadium as Rama Evans gets the ball up towards half forward. Can Brigades get a very quick goal? They need one, but Towns putting good pressure on. Towns defence, get it out there, and a Towns player perhaps took a bit too long, and he didn't have a lot of time after saying he took too long, but he didn't have much time at all, and a good tackle put on by the Brigades player who was cramped up a little, and that's O'Brien. Jordan O'Brien.
Had a shot, 50 metres.
50 metres out. And
he's a good goal sneak, Jordan O'Brien.
He's a fair way out, but can he use the breeze? What breeze there is?
I might back him here.
Okay, Jordan O'Brien. Can he get a very important goal? So Jordan O'Brien, we see Brigades are leading by 3 points. Can they extend that lead? Jordan O'Brien going to kick it right up towards the teeth of goal. Goes back. Shoots towards goal. Looks a very good kick. Right on the scoreline. The Towns players got a hand to it, and off hands a minus score. So Brigades go to 5 goals, 5. And that is 35. And Towns are 4 goals, 7, 31.
The ball coming out of defence now for the Bulldogs. Ron Farris.
Thank God for Lord for Rowan.
Yeah, kicks to the outer side. Going the way of a player then called Ladd. He tries to get some fluidity. Doesn't find it. Goes back the way now of the Rosa. The Rosa puts it back into the pack. You wonder why someone would do that when he could just turn the other way and run away with the ball. But I'm not out there, and he is.
Congested, isn't it?
Yeah, so the ball about to be thrown up once again, just outside the centre square.
Well done.
The end favour. He's a pretty good goal sneak, this bloke. No, he's giving it away to someone else.
So now we're seeing Tim Bodell's being sent off.
Oh, God.
He's got a yellow card. I'd say he's been victimised. The ball will be kicked forward. The ball will be kicked forward by Clastorning. So Tim Bodell coming off for a spell.
Stoney's got the ball back now, and he'll have a shot on goal. He is about 30 metres out from goal. So everyone listening intently, including Towns' legendary supporter Warren Kalazic, player and coach, listening and enjoying the call then this afternoon.
Very good.
So the ball with Fletcher Clestone kicking toward the golf club end. This might be enough for Towns. In the context of this match, looked pretty good off the boot, straight through the middle.
For a point.
No, it is a point. It looked like a goal from here, but Fletcher...
Geez, they're wasting some opportunity.
Plots the copybook on this occasion, and 3 for the minus score. So it is Brigades 6-6-36, leading Towns 4-7-31.
Rowan Farris to bring the ball back into play for the Bulldogs. Goes out towards the scoreboard side. Towns player there, locks the ball across the boundary line, and there'll be a boundary throw in just in front of the scoreboard for Total Workwear here at WA Country Builders Stadium. And Brigades 5-6-36, lead Towns 4-7-31.
They're not out of it, are they? It's 5
Talking
points.
about Warren Kalazic, as people know, a great supporter of the Towns Football Club. He's just returned from Rome, but I believe the Pope had an audience with Warren.
As the ball comes back into play, umpire says the ball was held to him. As we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Lara Dalton, the member for Geraldton. 3/4 time at the football at Northampton. Northampton 81, lead Rovers 10. And Railways, their turn to get a percentage booster. At 3/4 time, Railways 21-11, Mullawar 1 goal too. So Railways are going to have a big win like Towns did over Mullawar last week.
It's going to be interesting after sorry, Glenn, to interrupt. It's going to be interesting after Country Week. The teams are going to fall away, aren't they?
They are, yes, certainly. It's going to be very tough for Mullawar after Country Week. There's no doubt about that. The gap doesn't help as Brigades shoot on goal. And the ball runs through for another minus score.
So it makes it 6 points.
So it's a 6-point ball game on the Total Workwear scoreboard. 14 minutes gone in this final quarter with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants. And Brigades are 5-7-37. Towns are 4-7-31. You're on Radio Mama, the home of GNFL footy, with Glenn Barnden, Peter Fiorenza and Peter Keefe. And don't forget, we'll have all the action from Country Week on Friday and Saturday with Division 2. And stay tuned to Radio Mama. We'll keep you across all the action.
Ball coming out of defence now, Rowan Farris. Gee, not a good kick by Rowan's standards. The ball hits the ground. It's picked up now by Towns, who try and get it hurriedly down the ground. Players starting to feel the pinch now as we head the dying stages of the final term. There's only 6 points in it as people dive on top of the ball. I should say players. The ball going the way now of O'Brien. He's been good this afternoon. The captain puts it into space, but that space isn't set upon by any Brigades player. It is Towns who do the mopping up, and there'll be a ball up just outside the forward 50 for the Bulldog. I should say for Brigades. So Brigades kicking toward the golf club end with a breeze at their back, which has been fickle this afternoon. Sorry, I interrupted, Glenn. Did you get that information out? Those stats
I did.
out?
No, I did. Thank you very much. Ball back in the centre. We're heading towards time on. Have Brigades done enough? Towns have kicked a point against the Breeze. They need to kick a couple of goals. Ball goes the way of Bo Walker. He gives it away to Mason. But in goes Brigades. Picked up by Jackson Luff. Luff kicks it up towards half forward. Plastoni's there. Ball punched away from him. So Towns can regroup. Towns have it on half back. Slapping the ball forward. Goes the way of Ryder. Ryder can't pick it up. Goes the way of Evans. He certainly can. Evans grabs the ball. Kicks it towards half forward. Looking there for a teammate. Picked up now by Brigades. That player got flung out of it. The umpire says nothing in that. In fact, he's seen a free kick. The player didn't get rid of the ball appropriately. So Towns are rewarded. Ball comes up towards Lachlan Morphew. Lachlan Morphew on half back. Goes with a short pass. Gets it to way of a teammate. And he gets it up the ground and goes as far as
done.
A ball slap forward.
This Isaac Ronan is not as pretty as his brother, and he should get some different coloured boots because he's only got black. But he's a really down offender, and he works overtime. You know?
He certainly does, and that was evidence of that. Special comments from Peter Bucket Keefe here this afternoon. The ball about to be thrown in, not far from our broadcast position. Look like it's going to be a Brigades win here this afternoon, although it is 18 minutes gone, but not many goals scored in this match, so one would think the time is well and truly at the essence for Towns at this stage. The ball going the way of Millett into the half-forward area. Goes the way of this player, O'Brien. He's been good this afternoon. To Luff. Luff has time to put it onto his boot, but kicks into space. Rowan Farris kicks into the man on the mark. That player almost hurts his ankle as he goes down. The ball is still with the defenders for Towns. They're under siege somewhat as it goes back the way of Farris. He sends it inboard and finds the safe hands of Jack Chapman.
He goes out wide, has it to a teammate, and that player is Reece Andrietta. Andrietta gets it up towards centre wing, so Towns are regrouping. Can they get a couple of scores on the board quickly? Ball centres, comes back towards Towns, and Towns have it now through Connor Lewis. Lewis with the ball. Gets it up towards the centre of the ground, looking for Bo Walker, but the biggest man on the ground, Fletcher Clastorney, takes a very good mark, so probably not the best place to kick the ball to the big man. Fletcher Clastorney puts it on his left boot, kicks it in towards the forward pocket. Towns player slaps the ball forward, but only goes as far as the Brigades player. He gets rid of the ball just in the nick of time. Ball comes back the way of the player there in Farris. He goes back to Chapman. He gets it up the ground, and Towns have it on the half back line. So Towns have it through La Rosa. He centres the ball to centre wing. Ball slapped forward. Goes the way of Arthur Garland. He can't pick it up. Towns do through Walker. He gets it forward, but only as far.
I think time's run out for the Bulldogs, Glenn.
So Clay Sippler with the ball. He's been very good, as he always is, in the fence. Gets it up towards centre wing. Finds a teammate there. Has also worked pretty hard this afternoon for his side in the Hawks. And the player there is Jared White. He gets it up towards half forward. Brigades player Ronan flies high, almost took a screamer. Ball comes to ground. Towns can regroup. Towns have it up towards half forward, but Brigades player running with the flight again, Jared White, who's been more than serviceable this afternoon, centres the ball and finds the other big fella in Hayden Johnson.
Johnson comes laterally now. Sorry, Glenn, goes away of Patrick. Patrick in turn gets it away to Deschamps. Deschamps in front of our broadcast position, sends it inboard and finds O'Brien. O'Brien would have to be one of the better players on the park today, Pete. I know you're doing the judging, but he's been in a lot of the play this afternoon.
No, he does well, Jordan.
The ball into the half-forward area now, goes the way now of that player in Ryder. Ryder shoots on goal and shoots straight and shoots true and makes sure that his team go home with the lollies this afternoon.
Christopher Ryder gets his second goal of the afternoon, and as Peter mentioned, Brigades now in control on the way to the 4 premiership points. And with 21 minutes gone in this last quarter, with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants, Jamie Ryder with 2 goals, Brigades 7 goals, 7-49.
Glenn, I don't know the proper term for it, but in the AFL at the moment, they show a stat and they say how many possessions, how many kicks, how many marks and whatever, how many goals a player has. But they also show the stat of how much they contributed in a score for their team. And it's quite an interesting one, isn't it, Pete?
Yeah, absolutely. You see, Bontempelli has 15 touches and he'll get 7 or 8 goals scored off him, you know?
Yeah, and I think, I was talking about Jordan O'Brien, would fall into that category today.
Exactly, absolutely.
Ball coming out in the middle now.
Lovely young fella too.
He certainly is. The ball going the way now of that player in Seppler. Geez, the ball above his head and he tried to kick it but was unsuccessful, as you'd imagine, when he's only 4'11". So the ball goes to ground.
Funny thing, Pete, this game has only really been decided in the last 5 or 6 or 7 minutes. I mean, they were with them 7 or 8 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes ago. So credit to Towns, they've fought hard all day.
Yes, but the floodgates did burst open, or have they? As we see the ball go forward, and it is a win to Brigades, but Towns made them work every bit of muscle in them to get there today. The Brigades have beaten Towns at home at WA Country Builders Stadium, and the final score is Brigades 7-7-49. They've defeated Towns 4-7-31, and you're listening to the home of Country Week football, Radio Mama.
Our Drennan O'Malley Motors GNFL Game Day is brought to you by our member for Gerald.